Today we're going to talk about what happens after the sale. That wow factor is what can set you apart from your competitors, even if your pricing is higher. 50% of customers leave within the first 100 days. And this is not because the product has failed, it's because the experience failed. Are you designing an experience that is making them want to come back and want to refer you? There's 8 phases in the relationship with a client. So pick one thing from your list that you can go home and implement right now. If you are interested in more, welcome to Profits Pints, where strategy meets great conversation and real-world action. I'm Samantha Doyle. Grab a drink, settle in, and let's dive into this month's big idea. So this is the third Profits and Pints, which I am so excited about. I know, it's been fantastic. And I have so many people that have been to all 3, which is fantastic, or have been at least to 2 of them. And the first one we talked about pricing and profitability. The second one we talked about marketing strategy and how, before you spend any money on marketing, how you really want to have a clear strategy behind your marketing. Today, we're going to talk about what happens after the sale. So you've sold the person, your client, but you need to deliver an experience that clients never forget. Now, some people, they maybe sell a product and it's a one-time experience and then they never see that person again, right? But some people have an ongoing relationship with their clients. But this applies to both scenarios. Because even if it is a one-time product or a one-time service, you want those people to refer you. You want these people to talk about you, refer other people to you. And so having that wow factor is what can set you apart from your competitors, even if your pricing is higher, right? And so when you talk about pricing and you're like, well, I'm competing against these other people that their prices are low. Well, first of all, their profitability sucks. I can tell you that much. But I can also tell you that if you are delivering a better value to them and you are wowing your customers, then you are no longer competing on price, okay? So how do you do that? That's what we're gonna talk about today. So, fun fact, or not fun fact, 50% of customers leave within the first 100 days, okay? They leave. They're no longer with the person. And this is not because the product has failed, it's because the experience failed, because something in the experience was lacking, okay? So the question is, are you designing an experience, not the product, not even the service, but the experience that the customer is having? Are you designing an experience that is making them to want to come back and want to refer you to others? So I want you to think of a time that you were truly wowed by something, whether it was a product or a service that you experienced. I'm gonna give you an example. My hair has been through a million phases, okay? But I have a phase where my hair was very curly. It is not the case anymore. And I purchased a product that was called Curly Girl. I don't know if anybody's heard of this, but it was a Curly Girl product, and it was like this Curly Girl method thing, right? I knew nothing about it at the time, but I was trying it. And there was a shampoo and a conditioner that I was buying. I didn't know what I was doing. I went through the whole sales process online, which got me, and I bought the product, okay? When I bought the product, I immediately got an email with a video that told me exactly what to do to prep my hair before the product arrived. It literally said, okay, this is how you've been used to treating your hair. This is what you need to do because your product's not gonna arrive for a week or 2 weeks or whatever. These are the types of things that you're gonna be experiencing before you get here, okay? And it told me exactly what to do, okay? Then the product arrived. It came in this beautiful box, okay? I got my shampoo and my conditioner. I had this extra scrubber brush that I got. I had this like cap thing that I can use to sleep in. I was not expecting any of those things, okay? But it literally gave me everything that I could possibly need to live the Curly Girl lifestyle, okay? Which is a thing, apparently. And I was completely wowed by this experience. After using it for about 2 weeks, I got another email with a video giving me tips and tricks on things like, hey, these are some things that you may be experiencing. After 2 weeks of using this, your hair might be extra oily. That's okay, it's supposed to be. This is what's supposed to be happening, okay? This was a phenomenal experience that I had, right? Because they wowed me. That had nothing to do with the product. They could have simply shipped me the product and said nothing else. But that would not have been the experience that I had, okay? So what I want you to do is take a minute, think about an experience that you had, whether it was a product or a service, and turn to a partner and talk about what made that experience wow to you, okay? So just think about it for a second and then turn to a partner or turn to someone at your table. Anybody want to share an experience that they had and how it made you feel?
This is also going to be something that other women in the room might be aware of, is the White House Black Market Boutique. I go there because it reduces my anxiety and I don't have analysis paralysis. It saves me time, which saves me a lot of energy. So when you walk in, you're immediately greeted and they ask you, what kinds of things are you looking for? How can we help you? What's your size? Here's some pieces. Let me even add some of these items to your room, and then you just go. You try the things on. They're going to fit amazing. You're going to feel like $1,000,000, and they help you find accessories to go with those. But then they take it above and beyond, and I get a call from them about once a quarter or so that says, hey, by the way, we're having an event. We'd love for you to stop by. And even though I haven't shopped there in a while because I've been working from home, I don't need as much suiting now, they still call me and check in on me. I've never had that experience with any other retailer before, and I'm willing to pay a little bit more for the experience. Their stuff is not inexpensive, but I'm willing to pay that extra amount because of the experience. It saves me time. I know it's going to fit well, and it's going to last, so that's my experience.
Who here is willing to pay more for ease? Especially when it's something you care about, right? Something that means something to you, or if it saves you time and it saves you energy, or something maybe you don't care about at all and you really just don't want to worry about it, right? It's so, so important. So, you know, this 100 days, so this whole presentation is based on a book called Never Lose a Customer Again, okay? Has anybody heard about that book? Anybody? Yeah. Yes, good. Really, really good book, okay? I highly, highly recommend it. So this whole presentation is based on that. So if you want to go deeper, you definitely can. But what it's talking about is how the sale is just the beginning of a relationship with your client, okay? And so emotions are really driving this loyalty with your client. So it's how can we help drive those emotions. So this is just kind of an analysis or whatever it simulates here. There's 8 phases in the relationship with a client. Some people go through those phases super fast, okay? You can go through those phases all in like a day or two, or minutes even, okay? Some people it takes months for that to happen. So they say 100 days, it's not always 100 days. So as we're going through this, I want you to think about what your timeline is for your clients. It could be that you go through all of these phases within a 5-minute period. It could be that this truly takes 100 days for you, okay? The 100 days is just a symbol, is all it is, okay? So don't get stuck on that, please. But there are 8 phases. Before we go through each of the 8 phases, what I also want you to think about is that there are 6 different communication styles that you can use to wow your customers, okay? So you can do in person, things like face-to-face welcome, surprise visits, launch meetings. You can do a video, right? So a welcome video, a milestone celebration, keep the faith messages, email, educational emails, personalized updates, onboarding checklists. These are just ideas. There's a million of these, okay? Mail. It's not, how many of you, depends on how old you are, used to get like a ton of mail? How much mail do you get now? Not very much, right? You're more likely to actually open your mail now because when you get it, you're like, what's this? I never get mail anymore, right? Mail is not dead. It's actually coming back. Handwritten notes, case studies, surprise gifts or branded materials. A phone call. What is that? I don't even understand this. A phone call. You can call people, right? Thank you call, a check-in, a milestone celebration, and a present, right? You can actually send them a gift. A gift is not branded. I'm gonna make that very clear. A gift is not branded. If it's branded, it is not a gift. Unexpected gifts, free upgrades, bonus samples, customer recognition items, okay? So as we're going through each of these phases, in your workbook, all of these are listed, and on the second sheet, I believe it is, we're gonna be filling this out at the end, but I want you to start thinking about, as we go through each phase, what is something that you can implement in your business for each of these phases, and I think I just did the first 4 phases just because I don't want you to be overwhelmed by it. Let's just talk about the 4 phases. I am going to go through all of them, but I want you to think about what of these 6 communication styles is like one thing you could implement really easily that would wow your customers. What would have the biggest impact for them? All right, we're going to go through these. First one, assess. So this is the assess phase. So this is really when it's more of the sales phase of a customer. They're assessing you to see if they even want to work with you, right? So they're evaluating whether they want to be a customer, and the objective is to set the expectations to create that curiosity with them, okay? So some examples of what you could do here is an educational video, a newsletter, a helpful, like a phone conversation or consultation, free samples or guides, right? And again, some of this stuff you guys are already doing, but like what's one more step you can do? What's the wow factor you can add? So that's for the assess phase. The admit phase. This is the moment that the prospect becomes a customer. Sorry, they've purchased, okay? They've handed you the money. They've paid, all right? So you want to make them feel amazing about this decision, okay? That is the objective here. You want to be like, oh my God, you just made the best decision ever, okay? And so things like thank you video, a handwritten note, a personalized email from the team. Those are examples of things you can do. This next one is my favorite. Affirm phase. The window immediately after the purchase when doubt creeps in. Most customers have this immediate like, ooh, is that a good idea? I'm not really sure. Maybe not all of them, but it definitely happens, especially if you ghost them, okay? How many times have you purchased something and they didn't hear from somebody? You purchased a service, like maybe you got somebody to install something, or you signed up for a software or something like that, and then you didn't hear from them for a week. Has this ever happened to anybody? It's definitely happened to me. And I'm like, this may have been a bad idea, okay? Don't do that. So you really, really want to make sure you have something in the affirm stage that's, maybe a day or 2, or depending on your cycle, right? That really affirms that they made a good decision. This was the right decision for them. And so examples of this are follow-up call from the leadership, keep the faith video, like, again, kind of a rah-rah, like you made a good decision here. This is what the onboarding is going to look like, or whatever. And then maybe like a success story or case study in the mail. Those are just examples. Activate, number 4. So this is the first real experience with your product or service, okay? And again, some people, this happens really fast, okay? But there is every single one of these phases. But for this person, this could be like if you're doing a software, for example, this is like, okay, now I'm actually like experiencing the software for the first time, okay? So this is the onboarding experience for in that example. And so this is where you really want to deliver that wow moment. Okay, it's the first time they're experiencing it. So in my story, Ariel, this is my box opening, right? I opened the box. Wow, I got all these like surprises in it that I was not expecting. Okay, so custom welcome package, that was that example. A personalized onboarding email or surprise bonus in the delivery, that was that. Number 5, acclimate. So the customer is learning how to use your offering. Okay, maybe they're not even really sure how to best use it, and you want to build that comfort and consistency. So if it's something that they're consistently using and you want them to consistently be used to using it, then you want to build that consistency with it. You want to help build that consistency. And so how-to resources, checklists, short training videos, or like check-in calls with them are really good tools to help just like get used to it. Again, don't ghost them. Number 6 is accomplish. So this is like they've achieved their result. So now, in my hair situation, I would say that my achieving the result was probably a couple months in. I was like using the product and it was like actually working, right, at that point. So you got to figure out when the achieving the result is for your client. It might be different for different services too. But at some point, they've achieved the result that they wanted. It might be that you handed them the product and now they have it and they're done, right? It might be that simple, it just depends. And so you wanna celebrate and reinforce that. You wanna make sure to point that out to them. Like, hey, this is what you wanted, and guess what? Now you have it. And I gave that to you. Maybe not in those words, but that's essentially what you're trying to do, right? Make sure that you're congratulating them. So congratulations email or handwritten note, celebratory gift or a call, some kind of recognition on social media maybe. How can you really wow them with this? 7 is adopt. So this is when the customer it's like part of their routine, right? Not only have they achieved it, but it's like part of their life now, right? You know, I mean, if it's like a Fitbit, for example, they wear it every day, right? It's not just a product that they got and they're like, oh yeah, I wear it some days, but they wear it every single day. It is part of their life, right? Or if it's my curly girl thing, I use it every single day. It is part of my life. It is part of my routine, okay? And so you want to deepen that brand for them. You want to have advanced user tips and resources, maybe, or a personalized success survey, branded memento or recognition, right? And not everyone maybe has this. Again, it just depends on what your service or product offering is, but think about how this might apply to you or your product or service. And then the last one, and probably the most important one, is advocate, okay? These are the customers that are sharing your brand with everyone. This is where you want to get everyone to, right? And so you want to empower them to promote. You want to make it easy for them to promote your business or your services or your products. And so giving referral gifts, right? Or customer spotlight, testimonial videos. This is a 100-day thank you call from the CEO. There's companies that will actually celebrate, hey, you've been with us for 100 days, and make it a huge deal. And celebrate that. How cool is that, right? Or a year, or whatever, it's your anniversary. Refer us, you know, not in those words again, do it tactfully. But I think that there's a lot of ways that you can do those types of things that really help celebrate them, but it also helps them want to refer you because they feel like they're part of your family. Okay? So, let me see here, let me think what it is. So, like I said, on your second page, now we've talked about this quite a bit. I just did the first four sections, because those are the ones I want you to really focus on. And again, on the first page of the description, so if you need to look back at them, on the second page is this table. But I want you to think for the assess, the admit, the affirm, and the activate, what is your client, not the client, your client's goal in this phase? What emotional shift do you want to create there? What kind of shift are you trying to create? What medium do you feel like is most personal? And when I say medium, it's the different communication styles. Okay, so like, do you think an email would be good? Do you think an in-person? Do you think a phone call? What kind of medium do you feel like would be the most personal, kind of wow factor medium that you think you should use? And then once you do that, then go deeper. Okay, what does that medium look like? Okay, you're gonna call them, what are you gonna say? You're gonna email them, what's the email gonna say? So take a few minutes and just try to fill out at least a little bit of this. Doesn't have to be all of it. Does anybody have any insights or thoughts that they got while they were going through that activity? Anything that was difficult? Yeah, go ahead.
So one of the things that I was recently introduced to is the concept of letting the customer sell themselves. And you start that with, so what are you looking for? Mm-hmm. What are your needs? Why are you not happy with what you currently have? Find out what their emotional driver is, and then how you can fulfill that emotional need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. So giving them a chance to do that is really important. Anything else? Was there anything like you felt was really challenging? Yeah.
I'm having a hard time differentiating between admit and affirm. Like,
yes.
I wanted to write down the same thing.
Yeah. So no, this is good. This is good. So well, let's talk about your business really quick, if that's okay, because this is what is helpful.
That's why we're here.
This is why we're here. Okay, so let me read the description really quick, and then we'll talk about yours to try and do this. So admit is when the prospect becomes a customer, and affirm is the buyer's remorse, okay? So for yours specifically, and I know a little bit about your business, so this is good, but why don't you tell everyone just a little bit about what you do?
Okay, so I do team facilitation and culture coaching. So I help teams work better together with communication, alignment of goals,
Okay. And who is the person making the purchase?
The leader of the team.
The leader of the team, right? So I would say that the admit is when the leader of the team like signs the contract, basically, right? So that's the admit phase. They literally sign the contract and send it to you. Okay, and
They're
so
not feeling remorse yet.
They're not feeling the remorse yet. And again, it's not that they always feel remorse, okay? It's that there's a chance of it, right? And only if you do a poor job of communicating is really what it is. And so the scenario here is they sign the contract and they send it to you. You have an opportunity to send them like a welcome packet or a welcome email or a gift or a phone call, or that is the admit right there, okay? Now give it like 3 days, a week, right? Because you have to schedule that, right? You're not doing it that day. You're doing the session with them maybe a week or 2 or a month out, right? So in that period of time, because think about it, activate is when they're experiencing the service. So if we're between experiencing the service and buying the product, somewhere in there, there is a potential of remorse.
You're filling this gap of when
Correct.
let their brain go.
Exactly. So I don't know exactly the day, right? You can kind of decide in your brain where you think it might be. If let's say that most of the time it's a month out that you're scheduling, I would say maybe a week or 2, okay? Then you need to decide if that week or 2, do something. Just do something because there is the potential of remorse where it's like, hey, just wanted to let you know, I got the space booked, I got the cater booked, like I'm so excited, you know, here's an article that's gonna be a little bit of snippet of what we're gonna be doing or whatever, right? So that's just an idea that's getting them to be like, hey, I made a good decision. Like this girl's got it, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, almost to make them look forward to
Yes.
the event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can I add on to that?
Yeah.
I feel like, too, when someone starts feeling remorse, it's because they just paid a huge cost for something as well. And they felt great about it at first, and then it starts kind of setting in, especially right now. People are starting to be a little bit more aware of what they're spending, and they're like, well, shoot, what am I really getting? And should I have done that? That was a really large expense. And they're like, I don't know, I kind of need it, and it might be beneficial. And then it's like that time where we come in and we're like, okay, this is where we need to reassure them and make them feel warm and fuzzy about it again. And but I think that's really valid and something that we can all be experiencing in lots of different industries.
Or like offer just a little bit more value right there, right? Like, oh, actually, but you got this bonus for this.
Well, and that's where I think
like booking the thing.
Yes.
It's like, okay, that's
part of what I'm doing.
right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, okay, I see that value. All of a sudden, again, that value got reiterated to me.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, the cost. Yeah, I can see that.
So what I want you to do is pick one and implement it, and then pick another and then implement it, because you're not going to go and say, okay, I'm going to implement all of these things, because it can be a lot of work and you have to test it and you want to make sure that it's working. So pick one thing from your list that you can go home and implement right now. If you are interested in more, Joey Coleman is the author, and the book is called Never Lose a Customer Again. It is a fantastic book. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's such a good read. And it's a pretty short read too. And it goes in a little more depth than this. He actually has a free downloadable PDF too that goes in more details on all this as well, if you're interested. Next month, June 24th, 4 to 6, same spot. We're gonna talk about thinking like an owner. So this is talking about like a leadership shift that protects profit, okay? How do you protect your profit with this leadership shift? So that's the next Profits and Pints, so I hope to see you guys here. And then the last thing, we developed a 4-hour workshop that I'm super excited to be launching. It is called the Scaling Up Essentials. So for those of you that don't know, I'm a certified scaling up coach, which is a community of coaches. I went through a pretty rigorous certification process, and I have a group of other coaches that I get to collaborate with. I'm going to Denver in 2 weeks. I get to see all my fellow coaches, which I'm super excited about, and they have continuous education that they send me. But it's also kind of a methodology that I base a lot of my trainings off of. Not all of them, but it's kind of a foundation of training. And so what I'm offering is a 4-hour group training, but it's gonna be a small group training, and it's gonna be really, really honed in on what does the next 90 days in your business look like? What are the biggest priorities that you should be focusing on? We're gonna talk about things like people, strategy, cash, and execution in your business. And so it's hands-on, workshop style, kind of like what we did today, where you have things in front of you, you're filling it out, you're walking away with things that you're actually gonna go implement in your business. You're gonna build the strategic plan, clarify roles, priorities, and cash flow levers in your business. and it's gonna be that small group setting. I'm thinking no more than 8 to 10 in the group at the maximum. And I'm gonna offer it in person, and I'm also gonna offer it virtual, depending on what people prefer. I might do one of each. So I'm offering this at $195, but for today, if anybody wants to sign up today, I'm gonna do a special for $125. So if anybody is interested in doing it, we have sign-up forms in the back, and we're gonna do one free seat for tonight on the raffle. Sky, you wanna get me the raffle tickets, please? I'm super excited about this. Scaling Up in general does these workshops, and they give us a bunch of kind of templates and things like that for different workshops that you can do. And I've really tried to hone in for it to be like very actionable, like workshop based, not just strategy, right? I want you guys to be able to walk away with something that you can implement immediately. Thanks for joining us at Profits and Pints. If you enjoyed this session, we'd love your feedback. Just click the link to fill out the quick survey. Your input helps shape future topics and makes this experience even better. Until next time, cheers to smart moves and great conversation.